How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Just Nobody's podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm your host, Game.
And today we're doing a podcast. Woo! If you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button and hit the like button, and also comment what you guys want us to talk about next week. As you can see throughout this video, we took some suggestions from last week and from our DMs on Instagram, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Dan, what are we talking about today?
So we are going to talk about Avengers Doomsday and all the cast members that are announced, but also all the cast members that are missing. We're also going to talk about all the Spider-Man announcements, but also what possibly could be the Fantastic Four post-credit scene and what could be the future for Marvel.
It's honestly looking really bright, and let's get into the podcast.
Yeah, so let's go over the cast first. So this is everybody that's confirmed for Doomsday right now. So we have Thor, Sue Storm, Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, Shuri, Scott Lang, John Walker, U.S. Agent, Namor, Ben Grimm the Thing, Shang-Chi, Yelena Belova / Black Widow, Beast, Bob or Sentry. We have Falcon, Human Torch, Red Guardian, M'Baku, Ghost, Loki, Professor X, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Mystique, Cyclops, Gambit, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and Victor Von Doom. Now that cast is insane.
Yeah. It's already insane as it is.
Yeah.
They didn't add anybody else.
Right. So I decided to separate this list into like the teams.
Okay,
So the Avengers that we have Thor, Captain America, Black Panther, Ant-Man, Shang-Chi, Falcon, and I threw in M'Baku in there because he fought with in Endgame and Infinity War. But this is who's missing, okay? So Doctor Strange is missing.
Yes.
Captain Marvel is missing. Wong, Hawkeye, Bruce Banner, War Machine, Peter Parker, all three of Peter Parkers that we've seen.
Right.
Star-Lord, all the Guardians of the Galaxy, Scarlet Witch, Wasp, Vision, and Quicksilver.
Yes.
So that's a lot missing. Now, we talked about last week how Elizabeth Olsen said she's not coming back.
Right.
But I think we have to assume that she is coming back.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of reports that the people that weren't announced yet are just the people that haven't finalized their contract yet. So it's very possible that she's in it.
Yeah.
And she just hasn't finalized the contract. That's why she's saying, no, I haven't gotten a call.
Right.
You just haven't finished your contract yet.
Yeah, that's why you haven't received the call.
Right. So this is the Thunderbolts. Bucky Barnes, U.S. Agent, Yelena Belova, Sentry, Red Guardian, and Ghost. Who's missing from that? Taskmaster. I think we're all assuming that Taskmaster is dead. Because Thunderbolts, they're like in the first part of the trailer, but then later in the movie, they're not in it. So
Right.
Taskmaster's probably gone.
Kind of spoils the movie.
Yeah. I think they kind of put too much information in that trailer maybe for that. But then Fantastic Four, we have Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, the Thing, all Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But then here's the X-Men. Gambit, Cyclops, Mystique, Nightcrawler, Magneto, Professor X, and Beast. We are missing a lot of X-Men.
Yes.
So we're missing Wolverine, Storm. Now, it's been said that Halle Berry is confirmed to be in it, but she's actually confirmed to be one of those people that haven't finished the contract yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So according to Daniel RPK,
Yeah.
he said that she's in it.
All right.
Yeah.
If she wasn't in it, that'd be really weird.
Right. If
Like,
you're going to bring out all these other
Yeah,
X-Men.
she's like the OG. Like,
Exactly.
You know?
So we have Iceman, Rogue, Colossus, Kitty Pryde, Angel, Jean Grey, Juggernaut, Pyro, Deadpool, and then X-Men 97. This is who we're missing. We're missing Jubilee, Morph, Bishop, and Sunspot. So that's a lot of X-Men to be missing.
Yeah. And X-23.
No, I did not. So
X-23
yeah,
is probably gonna be in
X-23.
too.
There's a lot of X-Men missing. Do I think they're all going to be in it? No. But a lot of these characters that I named are very crucial to the X-Men.
Yeah.
Like Iceman, Bobby, he should make an appearance.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me too, like, even though Jubilee hasn't been in the movies, well, she has been.
But she's never, like, used her powers, I would say. She's very, like, background character.
Stephanie Shu, was she?
No, it was Lana Condor, I think.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But then here's, like, the other people that are, like, not affiliated with a team.
Okay.
So She-Hulk, Daredevil, the Young Avengers, America Chavez, I guess she's Young Avengers, Clea, Okoye, Nakia, Riri Williams, the Eternals, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Punisher, and Moon Knight. So
And Ghost Rider.
So there's a lot of characters that aren't a part of the a team that aren't in this either.
Well, they're parts of teams, but those teams haven't been established yet in the MCU.
Yeah. And I guess the people that aren't affiliated with a team that are confirmed is Victor Von Doom, Loki, and Namor. Now, Namor, I think, is confusing for some people because he's like, a lot of people are like, why is Namor in it?
Yeah.
Namor and Black Panther actually play a pretty big role in the Secret Wars comic. So they kind of have this thing where they're butted against each other, but then they end up kind of working together. And it sounds weird, but Black Panther gets the Infinity Gauntlet.
I feel like he had it for a little bit in Endgame, but he had to let it go.
Yeah, so we know that there's going to be 50 or 60 characters total in this film.
Right.
And right there, we probably only have 26 confirmed.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot to be confirmed. But do I think that by confirming those other 24, do I think it's going to be everyone we think it's going to be? Probably not.
Yeah.
Because 24 is a lot, but I don't think it's going to be everyone where it's everyone's coming back.
So you're saying for Doomsday, you don't think everyone's coming back?
No.
But Secret Wars, you think they are?
Secret Wars, I do. Secret Wars, everyone's going to come back, but there's also going to be different versions of the characters because in Doomsday, dude, a lot of people are going to die in Doomsday. For sure.
If you were to make one prediction on one person that would die, who do you think is going to be gone?
Let's look at this list. So I honestly think a lot of the X-Men are going to die.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're going to bring him in just to kill him.
Yeah. The original X-Men have to come back for a little bit, but I think a lot of them are going to die. But I think also a lot of the Avengers are going to die.
I'm trying to think who would that be on the Avengers team, like Ant-Man?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Ant-Man dies. Because when I look at like the 2015 comic, I don't think you see much of Ant-Man.
Wow.
If that. I do think a lot of them are going to die, and they're going to die permanently.
They're not going to recast, you don't think? Like have a variant?
No. They could have a variant.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get, like, say Ant-Man dies, right?
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's done for good. It's not going to be until later down the line, right? Where possibly there's, like, another Secret Wars type of thing. Where at that point, the original Avengers will be, like, coming back like the original X-Men are coming back. You know what I'm
I see
saying?
what you're saying. Like a legacy
Like
character.
a legacy thing.
Yeah. Wow. So I understand that the Russo said this isn't an ending, it's a beginning.
Right.
So it's kind of going along with what you're saying is that a lot of people will die
Yeah.
to restart
Exactly.
the new variants, the new MCU.
Yeah. And the reason why I think that they're going to die is because, yeah, they're restarting the MCU, but also these people, like, we need to start getting new people. You know, we can't just keep this same cycle going of like, oh, we're going to kill this person, like have like a crazy story, but then we're just going to bring them back later.
Yeah.
And they're going to be basically the same person.
Right. Because when you don't have a definite ending, there's no stakes.
Yeah.
You could just bring them back. It's kind of like, well,
Right.
you're not really emotionally like attached. Like this could be it for them.
Exactly. So going off of like the whole like 50 to 60 people, we could assume that, yes, they're not finalizing the contracts, but there's also probably a lot of people that are huge surprises still.
Yeah.
Like, we still don't really know if Deadpool's in it. Like, Deadpool could be a big surprise.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's got to be in it.
I mean, right? If you bring in all these original X-Men, it would be such a shame to not have them reunite with Hugh Jackman.
Right. And do I think it's going to be a different Wolverine or the Wolverine we see in Deadpool and Wolverine? I don't know. Because at least the story of the one in Deadpool and Wolverine, it would be cool to see him reunite with the team because he lost his team.
Right.
We also talked about a theory on TikTok, if you guys didn't see it, that Avengers Doomsday is not going to be the typical Avengers movie. And it's actually going to be an Avengers vs. X-Men movie. Now, the reason why this makes sense, the Russo brothers said that Doomsday and Secret Wars will take inspiration from the 1980s comics and the 2015 comics. Now, we know that they just take inspiration. They always make the story their own, but there's like some parts that are inspiration to the story. And in the 2015 comics, it kind of starts out with this huge like invasion/battle because of an incursion. So like Nick Fury sends like an invasion on the 616 universe, and they kind of have this huge like brawl. Now, Reed Richards is also the one to kind of save the people, save the heroes in this scenario because he actually builds like this multiversal raft that he takes some heroes on to save them from the multiversal breakdown. Now, we also see in the Fantastic Four trailer that Reed Richards is building some sort of multiversal device.
Yes.
He's looking at multiversal travel. So it kind of lines up with the comic. And we know that in the comic, a lot of people actually do die, because some people do get left behind.
Right.
Now, not every hero is taken with them. That's why I think in Doomsday, not every hero is going to be saved, and they're going to just permanently die.
Yeah, it makes sense. I understand what you're saying. Like, it kind of has to happen. We kind of need to see some people lose to have that emotional connection again where there's stakes, right? When you deal with the multiverse, it's kind of like, oh, you'll just get replaced by a variant.
Right. And not only do we need people to die, like to have like that emotional thing, but if we're going to reset the MCU, people need to die.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like our favorite characters are going to have to die. There's going to have to in order to like go into this next phase of Marvel.
Right.
Now, talking about like what comes after this, I think they're probably going to more like focus heavily on the X-Men. And we're going to go through this whole like X-Men era until we start bringing back like another Iron Man or something like that. Because another Iron Man coming in seems too soon now.
Right. Because you just brought Robert Downey Jr. back.
Exactly. Even though he's Victor Von Doom, it's like, okay, if we ever do another Iron Man, it's got to be like up to the standard, which is going to be very hard to do. But I think right now, even like 5 years from now, it's too soon.
Yeah.
We can't have another Iron Man. It needs to be X-Men era for a while.
Yeah. I just wonder how they're going to introduce the recast
Exactly.
of heroes, you know?
Yeah. Because technically, they're resetting the MCU and they're breaking down the multiverse to be this one soul thing, soul universe.
Yeah.
In a way, right? So technically, everyone should be in this one universe in the end of everything.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of like, wow, where are they going to go with this? Who's going to live? Who's going to die? And who's going to be the future?
Yeah. That's the $1 million question. What is the future, right? In terms of, does the movie end with like some heroes staying on and being a part of this new MCU, and they're kind of like into this new world where it's like a shell of new people, new civilization,
Yeah.
and like young heroes,
Right.
right? And then like you have a young Tony Stark,
Yeah.
right? And then Hugh Jackman's still there. as the X-Men
Yeah.
Wolverine, and Tony Stark's not at that stage yet where he's gonna be Iron Man.
Right.
So they can focus on a different part of the MCU,
Yeah.
X-Men, and then Tony Stark grows up, and then he's ready to be the Iron Man.
And
You know
then
what I
it's
mean?
kind of like the whole.
His origin story again.
Yeah.
Could that
I
be
guess it's-
possible? I don't know.
It's possible. I think it's always possible. Who do you think they're going to kill off? Because I honestly think they're going to kill off a lot of X-Men.
Yeah.
They're going to kill off probably half of the Avengers. And they're definitely going to kill off the Thunderbolts. At least some of them. I do think, like, Bucky will die. I do think U.S. Agent will die. They're going to have to.
Yeah.
Because I think in Secret Wars, I think Yelena Belova will probably have a Black Widow, like, moment.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to live through Doomsday.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of them don't make it out. I wouldn't be surprised if Yelena is the only Thunderbolt that makes it out of Doomsday.
You might be right. I could see what you're saying, because I also heard this though.
Yeah.
That the reason why there's an asterisk at the end of Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Is that they're either gonna be the new Avengers.
Oh.
Or the Dark Avengers or the West Coast Avengers, right?
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe they're the Avengers, and
Well,
Sam Wilson's gonna recruit them.
The reason why I thought the asterisk was there is because in the trailer, I forgot which trailer it was, but they put the asterisk on the name, but then at the bottom of the screen, they have another asterisk saying, like, this is what the asterisk means, right? It says the Avengers are not available.
Oh,
So it's like Thunderbolts is a placeholder because the Avengers are not available.
got it.
Yeah. So could they be the next Avengers? Yes. Could it just be that the Avengers were not available for this mission? Yes.
Right.
Right? Because if Sentry's like taking over the world, you'd think some Avengers would try to come help.
Yeah.
Right? But I think they're trying to say, like, yes, the Avengers are not available, even though there's this world-threatening person.
I would argue too. Do we even have an Avengers right now?
That's a big question,
That's
too.
why I almost feel like since Avengers aren't available,
Yeah.
because they're not existent,
Right.
that Thunderbolts are technically the Avengers.
That can make sense, too.
Yeah, we don't have Avengers anymore, so we have to do our next best thing, which are the Thunderbolts.
Right. See, I really wonder, like, all this time, what has Shang-Chi been doing?
Well, he was with Bruce Banner.
He was with Bruce Banner, right? But now what?
Yeah.
You know, because, like, he was with Bruce Banner. She-Hulk came out. Bruce Banner was doing something else
In She-Hulk.
in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So, like, where's Shang-Chi been?
I know.
What's he been doing? Just running around? Like, did he go back to San Francisco or?
It's getting a little messy. Like, they introduce so many characters, but they have to remember that they have to kind of pop up in each other's properties, like,
Yeah.
for it to make sense.
I mean, it's either California or New York. They're all in those two states, it seems like.
Apparently,
Except for Star-Lord. Something else I want to talk about is the Fantastic Four post-credit scene.
Okay.
So apparently, there's been a lot of news breaking about what's going to be the post-credit scene. There's a lot of rumors and reports saying that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will be the Fantastic Four post-credit scene.
Okay.
Now, which makes complete sense.
Right.
They definitely need to introduce him before Doomsday. And this is going to be like the movie that kind of leads into Doomsday.
Yeah.
So, like you said last week, they're going to have to move fast pretty soon, right?
Right.
They're going to have to
We're
really-
approaching Doomsday so fast that you got to really start setting that groundwork up to
Right.
get people prepared for, like, what is Doomsday.
Exactly. So, another thing that's rumored in the post-credit scene, okay? A lot of people have speculated that Chris Evans is going to be in Fantastic Four. Now, is he playing a Johnny Storm? Is he playing like an evil Johnny? Or is he playing a Captain America or a Nomad? We don't know.
Could be all of them.
It could be all of them, but
Like 5 different versions.
right. We've also talked about this on TikTok too, that we've kind of like speculated different things, but a lot of reports are coming out saying that he is also in the post-credit scene with Doctor Doom. Now, what does that mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that possibly Chris Evans is on Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom's team and that he's actually working for him.
Yeah.
Now, how could this make sense? Okay, I was trying to put it together. It makes sense that he's with Doctor Doom, right? And this could be a way why they're like saying like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. looks like Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom. When you think about it, if Doctor Doom is traveling the multiverse and he's like trying to get all these different multiverses put into one world, like Battle World, he's going to find a bunch of different Avengers. Now, when you look at Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool was searching the multiverse to try to find the best Wolverine to like replace the anchor hero.
Right.
And Mr. Paradox said, you found the worst possible Wolverine.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a worst Wolverine, that means there's a worst or most powerful version of every single Avenger that ever existed.
Right.
So that means Doctor Doom could literally go to every single multiverse and find the worst or most powerful version of every single hero and recruit them to his team.
Right.
And the reason why they would follow him is because he looks like Tony Stark,
Yeah.
right? Captain America is going to trust Tony Stark.
Right.
Tom Holland Spider-Man is going to trust Tony Stark. So if you find the worst and most powerful versions of these heroes, they're going to trust Tony Stark and work for him and say that they need to like save the multiverse.
Yeah.
Now think about this. Wolverine in Deadpool and Wolverine was like so broken from his failures.
Yes.
And he came to terms with it and wanted to save Deadpool's world, right?
Right.
And wanted to do something good. Doctor Doom could be manipulating them in the same way. All these characters that he finds across the multiverse are broken, right? But they're so powerful. And he says, like, the only way to do justice now is to save the multiverse. So work for me.
Yeah.
And he could just manipulate them that way. And he has this whole team of evil Avengers. Evil.
Right.
But that could make complete sense how Doom is going to be so powerful. He's going to be this ultimate being, but he's going to also have this team of evil Avengers.
Right. It makes 100% sense.
Right. And when you think about it, we could get this whole story of him actually going to like a multiverse and finding the symbiote Spider-Man, and it's Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland's going to have to fight him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how we're going to get like the whole symbiote Spider-Man. But the more I think about it, it makes sense that if Chris Evans is going to be in the Fantastic Four post-credit scene with Robert Downey Jr., it makes sense that he possibly has a Captain America on his team.
Yeah.
Now, because I don't think they're going to put him in the post-credit scene and he's going to be another Johnny Storm.
Well, I also think this, which going off what you're saying, like obviously Avengers Doomsday is going to be X-Men versus Avengers, it seems like at first.
Right.
But then I think Avengers and X-Men will team up to fight Doom and his team.
Right.
So,
which makes complete sense. Yeah. So it's going to be like Avengers, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and the X-Men against Doctor Doom and his team.
Right. Which could have some variants of X-Men and Fantastic Four on it too.
Exactly. And it's going to have the most powerful or the most broken versions.
I just realized something.
Yeah.
I wonder if they spin the whole concept,
Okay.
right? And instead of having a bunch of universes fighting each other,
yeah,
it's actually all the universes fighting against Doom and his team. And that's the collide. You know what I mean? That's the two parties. One party with a bunch of universes coming together to fight Doom and his,
like ultimate beings team.
Right. And their purpose is to like destroy all worlds. And maybe the Avengers and everyone else are trying to fight for all the worlds to exist.
Interesting.
Could that be? And
that's
then
possible.
And Loki could actually let all the universes exist.
Yes.
Right. He could kind of prevent incursions.
In a way, he could.
Am I wrong?
Well, he holds together the multiverse, right? So in a way, he could cause another multiverse to collide with another.
He could.
But
he's preventing it.
He's preventing it.
If I understand correctly. I'm kind of lost. But I think that, can't that work? That storyline work?
It could work.
And that keeps the multiverse alive.
Yeah. I honestly think that Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom, since Doctor Doom has multiversal travel in a way, he's gonna have to. And Reed Richards is figuring out multiversal travel. I almost think that possibly it could be a race to Loki.
100%. I agree.
Right, so do I think Loki's gonna be there long? Not really. I think we're gonna get like his whole like Thor reuniting thing, that Loki's kind of the hero right now. But I think he's gonna end up dying. I think Doctor Doom's gonna get to him first and kill him.
And then disrupt everything.
Yeah, because in the comics, Doctor Doom, I believe, kills the Beyonders to get their power, right? And that's what kind of gives him like this ultimate crazy, insane power.
Yeah.
Now, do I think Loki might be taking the place of the Beyonders? Possibly.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill Loki and kind of have control over the multiverse.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah. So I do think Loki's going to be in it, but I don't think he's going to be in it for long. And he is going to play a big role, but yeah, I think he's done, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, he had his 2 seasons of his show. He's been in so many Marvel movies. It might be time for Tom Hiddleston to say, like, I'm cool with walking away.
Yeah. Who do you think Chris Evans will be coming back as? Because that's a huge question. Is he going to be Captain America? Is he going to be Johnny Storm? Is he going to be Nomad? Or is he just going to be like a character that we've not really seen before? Which I don't know who that would technically be, but
I mean, I personally feel that he's going to come back as multiple roles.
Yeah.
I think there's the Johnny Storm that we see in Deadpool and Wolverine, we know is not the same Johnny Storm from the Fox universe.
Right.
With that being said, the Fox universe Fantastic Four, the original with Jessica Alba, is still out there with the Johnny Storm.
Yes.
I think they're going to return. I think Chris Evans has to return as that Johnny Storm.
Right. Which would make sense.
Right. And maybe he's not so funny as he was in Deadpool and Wolverine, that variant.
Yeah.
He's a little more mature. He grew up a little bit from the original Fantastic Four movies. And he gets to play like a better version of Johnny Storm.
Right, like a more mature
one that has control of his powers and really understands how to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, shooting flames at Pyro was not the smartest move.
No.
The one that can control fire. He knows that he can.
Right.
I think Johnny Storm still needs justice.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Evans knows that, and he's going to come back and be a part of that Fantastic Four. So I think that's okay. I think he's going to come back as Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
The actual one. I think he's going to come back as some variant of Captain America, if it's through Nomad, or a variant from another universe as Captain America.
Right.
I think it'd be such a shame to not see him suit up as Cap one more time and fight alongside Anthony Mackie's Cap. Like, We've never
That's-
seen that when they're both Captain Americas, right? Two shields.
Right.
We haven't seen that yet. We've only seen him as the Falcon and at Chris Evans as Captain America.
That's true.
I do think it would be a really cool full circle moment if Captain America from Avengers Endgame goes back in time, lives his life with Peggy, but they have to go back and pull him out because he's that Captain America, has connections with Anthony Mackie's Cap.
Right.
And for him to see Anthony Mackie take the shield and really lead the Avengers, and Captain America knew in his heart that he made the right decision to have Anthony Mackie, and he gets to see it, I think that's a huge full circle moment.
Yeah, that would be good.
So if you're asking me which characters I think Chris Evans is going to play, I think he's going to play Johnny Storm.
Okay.
I think he's going to play some variant of Captain America.
Right.
And I think he's going to also play probably some evil Hydra Cap that we never seen.
So that might be on Doctor Doom's team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so technically he could come back as 3 roles.
Yeah.
In a way.
And it could be a lot more too.
If they're doing like multiple roles per actor, how is it going to look like when they're on the screen at the same time? And like they're either fighting each other or like they're fighting someone else.
Well, if you look at like Avengers Endgame, right? There's a bunch of battles happening in Endgame.
Right.
On the battlefield.
Yeah.
Each fight seems pretty self-contained though. You see like one person fighting another.
Exactly.
Focus camera-wise, right? But in the background, you see stuff happening.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be moments where the camera pans and there's going to be multiple heroes fighting.
Right.
Playing the same character multiple times, you know?
Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is where do we think Marvel is really going to go at the end of Secret Wars? Now, we kind of touched on this already, but who do we think they're going to keep around, right? And who do we think is going to be like the next lead? Now, I think they're going to do the X-Men thing, but do I really think they're going to get rid of Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Definitely not.
I mean, considering that he just started Spider-Man 4, like they're starting for Spider-Man 4.
Right.
Which is the whole new trilogy, I think.
Oh.
So I think Tom Holland's safe to say that he's going to be sticking around for a while.
Yeah. So I do think Tom Holland's going to stay.
Yeah.
Young Avengers, possibly. It would make sense because we haven't even seen them together yet.
We don't even know if the Young Avengers is for sure going to happen.
I think the Fantastic Four are going to stay. I think some X-Men will stay. I think Hugh Jackman will stay. Possibly Halle Berry. Right. James Marsden, maybe. But I do think we are going to get new X-Men in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And I think those X-Men, whoever they're going to be, is going to carry on the X-Men legacy. I do think Doctor Strange will stay.
Really?
Yeah. He went with Clea, right? And we really don't know what happened.
They're trying to stop incursions.
Yeah. So I think he does have to stay because technically there was big rumors that they were going to do like a whole 616 Illuminati, right? I think to have an Illuminati, Doctor Strange needs to be there.
I agree. I just can't picture Benedict Cumberbatch doing this for another like 20 years.
Really? I think he can go for a long time because he could like Doctor Strange is a fairly older character.
Yeah.
We never see like a super young Doctor Strange. Really.
You're right. You're right. And maybe that's just me underestimating Marvel's budget.
Yeah.
Every time he signs on to a new contract, they got to up the money, I think. He's got to be getting a raise every time.
I would think so. Especially as he does more and more like outside of Marvel.
But you're right, though. You're 100% right that Doctor Strange needs to be around. And I think, honestly, in a perfect world, all these characters need to stay around. And these actors just have to sign on to these long contracts because these stories rely on having these characters all exist.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this universe exists because they all exist together.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really wondering what direction they take when they do this whole reset. What stories are you going to keep around that have already started in the 616 universe, even though the 616 universe is technically going to be destroyed? You know, like what stories are we going to continue? Because we obviously have to continue Spider-Man's story, and his is starting in the 616, right? This new trilogy is starting in 616. So we think. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but these stories and personalities that we've gotten are all through the 616 universe. So when they're put on another universe, are we going to get like almost like a fresh restart for everyone, and they're going to have like a different personality and different, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really hard to say if they're going to do like this whole era of like just solo stories again. And they're going to intertwine them. Now, do I think when they do Spider-Man solo story, could they intertwine the Young Avengers? Of course. But how are they going to intertwine the X-Men with Young Avengers and Spider-Man, you know? It seems like it could get hectic.
I agree. I would love to see, though, the reset being like, hey, look, these next Marvel movies for the next 20 years, it's all going to be team-ups. It's all going to be, like, grouping together Avengers heroes, and they're going to all, like, be in the same movies.
Right.
That would be cool to see if they could find a way to organize it and make it make sense.
We also have to think, like, how are they going to organize the villains then? You're going to have these huge team-ups fighting these 1 or 2 villains per movie.
Yeah.
Where do these villains go? Where do they get them from?
I mean, that's where it gets complicated.
Yeah. Moving on into movie news now.
Okay.
We just got crazy news, Spider-Man 4, right? Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. Now, they're completely going away from the whole having home in the name.
Yeah.
And I think this is really saying that Tom Holland's Peter Parker is getting a fresh start. Nobody knows who he is. He's a nobody. He's a broke college student that just has no friends, no family, And I think this is really saying like Ned and MJ are fading from his life.
Yeah. New day.
Brand new day.
Yeah.
It releases July 31st, 2026, directly in between Doomsday and Secret Wars. It
Right.
comes out 2 months after Doomsday. I'm still trying to put together where he's going to be and how it's going to work. If in Doomsday, they're going to have this huge battle and it's going to be like all these universes coming together. Do I think Spider-Man's just going to have no knowledge of that? Yes. But also, how could he not?
I mean, I feel that Doomsday is going to be really dark.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And I think they're hoping that having that quick 2-month release
Uh-huh.
after Doomsday with a Spider-Man movie, it's going to kind of be a little soften the blow and be a little more uplifting. But I do think it's going to be pretty darn dark.
I'm just trying to think, like, how do they lead into Spider-Man? Or is Spider-Man just going to be happening at the same time? That's where I'm trying to put together the timeline of, like, things that are happening in chronological order. I just don't know if Spider-Man's going to be, like, grounded or if it's going to be multiversal and if it's going to connect with Doomsday or lead into Secret Wars.
Am I mistaken? But did Ant-Man and the Wasp come right after Infinity War? Infinity War happens, then Ant-Man and the Wasp happens, right? And then Scott Lang is in the car that the rat saves him, right? Gets shot out of the car in Endgame. So it makes sense.
So technically, it could be happening at the same time. We talked about this, I think, either last week or 2 weeks ago. Sadie Sink is in Spider-Man 4. So she could be a Jean Grey looking for more heroes. I think it's possible that it's happening at the same time. Because if the X-Men are in it, she could possibly be a Jean Grey that's looking for more help.
Yes.
So it makes sense. And then they all lead into Secret Wars.
That would be pretty impressive.
Some more news we got is Beyond the Spiderverse is finally releasing, and we got news on it. But it is releasing in 2027, June 4th, 2027. That is a long ways away. Technically the year of Secret Wars.
Yeah, what's really interesting is that Daniel and I, we went to the premiere for Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse, yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse. We also went to this advanced screening of Across the Spider-Verse where one of the directors talked about how Beyond the Spider-Verse was done.
Yeah.
In correlation with Across the Spider-Verse.
The movie was technically, like, he said, like 4 to 5 hours long, though.
Right. But they had it done.
They had it done.
I'm really confused.
Yeah.
Why it took 5 years from the last one if it's done.
I think it's done, but it wasn't completely done. Because I think he did tell us that where Across the Spider-Verse cuts off, there was a lot more after that.
Right.
So they could have cut it off at a different spot. So they announced it at CinemaCon.
Yeah.
And it looks like they did show footage. So technically that footage that he said was done could have just been a little bit shown already. Because there's no way that it's fully 100% done. And that's why now they're like, it's fully 100% done, but there's like, they're reworking it again.
I guess what I was trying to get at is that I feel like Secret Wars and Doomsday has an effect on that movie.
It is definitely possible because now that they moved it to 2027.
Right.
2026 seemed more realistic. 2027 seems like, oh, like it's might be part of the story.
And they can't ever say that it's going to, well, we had to wait because Marvel's changing their story.
Yeah.
Because then that would reveal that they're probably in it.
Right. And here's the thing. You brought up a good point the other day. Is like, are they going to have animated characters in Secret Wars then? Because we see live action characters in Across the Spider-Verse. So why wouldn't we see animated in live action?
And Lego.
And Lego. Like, we see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in Across the Spider-Verse.
As people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not have animated in Lego in live action? Would I want to see that? Not really.
Really?
Maybe not Lego. I definitely don't want to see Lego.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like, little Lego guys?
Yeah, and then they die and they just explode. Like, I don't think they should do Lego.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So what they did release at CinemaCon is they released photos, and then we'll put them on screen. But they did release a photo of Miles, Prowler Miles, Gwen and Miles, and then it kind of looks like there's a fight scene between Miles and Prowler Miles. Now, they also showed footage, and this is what apparently they showed. The footage they showed was Miles and Gwen reuniting. Confirms that Gwen and the team found Miles.
Right.
And that they're reuniting with him. They also showed Prowler Miles and Miles fighting, but then they also show them kind of working together in a sense. Like they say, like they go on like a kind of like a adventure together. Now, this kind of just confirms everybody's theories about Prowler Miles actually being good.
Yeah.
And I think he's just going to help Miles. There was a lot of speculation that Prowler Miles is just this good version of Miles that is trying to take down the Sinister Six. And that there's no Spider-Man in that universe. So there's no one to take down the Sinister Six. So he's doing it.
Yeah.
Which makes complete sense now that we know, like, he's probably good.
Yeah.
Do I know where the story's probably going to go? Not really. But we did talk about a theory that Gwen and Miles universes will form into one, and they'll live like a happily ever after.
That is so interesting that you bring that up right now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Secret Wars and stuff. Like, why can't that happen to other universes?
That's true. Now, yeah, they could all coexist into one, which will probably happen. Like, the whole reset is going to be like this whole, they're all going to come into one. This is where it gets weird. Will the animated universe be combined into one with the live action universe? Because technically, if we're going to have just one main universe, there shouldn't be no Spider-Verse. There shouldn't be like technically another universe.
I mean, is it possible that a universe like connects to each other, but there's still like physical universes like just touching?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There's like a bunch of them.
Like a linear amount of Earths.
Yeah.
I guess it's always possible, and they just coexist peacefully.
Yeah.
And every Earth has like, oh, this Earth has Avengers and X-Men. This Earth has Spider-Verse. This Earth has...
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they could do that. And there's no singular universe, but there's still a multiverse that exists in one universe.
I'm just trying to think now, if that happens in Spider-Verse where their universes collide.
Yeah.
And they do that whole thing where they're two universes touching.
Mm-hmm.
That means you would watch Secret Wars and be like, oh my gosh, this is possible. You see all the worlds collide. Does that ruin Spider-Verse when it releases? Because you're like, oh, I get it. They're just going to work towards getting that to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like losing me in a way.
Because
like,
you're like, oh, it's possible.
Yeah. I really don't know.
It would be crazy for Avengers to get rid of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because in a way, stuff happens. Actors quit.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. Life happens. People need to get recasted.
Right.
I guess Marvel has no shame in just recasting people without, Edward Norton,
Exactly.
Terrence Howard.
So, yeah, let us know what you guys think is going to happen in this whole reset. I'm sure there's like good explanations out there, but I'm just trying to put together how is this all going to work when we have this huge reset and there's going to be technically no multiverse. It's just, I'm trying to figure it out.
This is what I think.
Okay.
No multiverse, one universe with a bunch of Earths.
Yeah. It could make sense.
And then you got rid of the multiverse.
You get rid of the multiverse and it's just one universe. But moving on to some more news. So Zack Snyder is making a UFC movie with Dana White.
Wow. Slow-mo.
Yeah.
Slow-mo.
So apparently it's going to be like this fighter who's like rising through the streets of LA and they're trying to get a chance to become the UFC champion. Now, we haven't seen many MMA movies when you compare it to how many boxing movies we've gotten, in my opinion. Okay, when you think about it, this could be the next Rocky and Creed just for MMA.
I really like the movie Never Back Down. I really like Warriors.
Yeah.
Those two MMA movies I really like. Right now, in the current movies that we're getting, there isn't a boxing or MMA fighting movie other than Creed. But I feel like Creed's taking a break.
I honestly think, though, they are going to try to have this whole Rocky Creed thing. Like, this whole, like, legacy UFC movie series.
You're right. Because they're like, well, we could make a series out of this.
Yeah, so I think it's a good idea. I'm definitely going to watch it. Like, it's going to be, like, a great movie, especially if you know Dana White's going to be a part of it. He's going to know to put real-life perspectives into the movie.
Right, and he's going to get a bunch of UFC fighters to be in it.
Yeah, and I just wonder who the lead is going to be. Like, which UFC fighters are going to be willing to lose on screen. Right. Now, do I think Conor McGregor is going to be in it? Yeah, because he was in Roadhouse.
That's true.
Okay, also, I wanted to talk about this. Neil Druckmann, the creator of Last of Us.
Yes.
He came out and said that Joel made the right decision of saving Ellie. Now, this kind of made a lot of people argue a little bit because, if he'd let Ellie die, they have a chance to get a cure for the world. So did he make the right choice? I honestly think, right, Ellie's not his kid. All his goal was to just get her across the country and get her to the Fireflies where she wanted to be. Knowing she wanted to be that purpose, I don't think Joel made the right choice.
You know what I feel?
Yeah.
I feel it's kind of selfish.
Well, yeah, it is.
Because he built a connection with Ellie.
Right.
And he doesn't want to see her gone.
Yeah. But Ellie wants that purpose.
Right.
In a world where there is no purpose.
Yeah.
So, do I think he made the right choice? No. Right. But Neil Druckmann is trying to make the argument like, if it was his daughter, he would have a hard time. But yeah, obviously. Right. Because if it's your daughter, you don't want to see that. But Ellie is not Joel's daughter.
Right. And Ellie is also older than his daughter was.
And you got to think, Joel wanted nothing to do with Ellie at the beginning. So if it was at the beginning, Joel would have definitely handed her over. Right. So let us know what you guys think. Did Joel make the right decision? When you really put it in perspective, I really don't think he did.
I agree.
I speak for us both. We both love the story of Last of Us. It was a very well done story, but...
Well, yeah, you wouldn't have a Last of Us 2 if Ellie...
Yeah, but if you make that argument, right, I don't think he made the right choice.
Right.
Because you can't argue like, oh, that's his daughter. It's not his daughter. He wanted nothing to do with her.
Right.
So he did not make the right choice, in my opinion. Also, according to Screen Time on Twitter,
Yeah.
Steven DeKnight, who is actually the showrunner for the Netflix Daredevil, actually said that, you know how like we mentioned that there's a difference between like Daredevil being acrobatic now opposed to the Netflix version.
Right.
So he came out and said that the reason why they did that in the Netflix version, he wasn't as acrobatic, is because of the money. And that there was so much minimal CGI in the Netflix one
Yeah.
that they just didn't do it. So it makes complete sense why now he's more acrobatic. But I think we have to give a lot of credit to the Netflix version because they showed us so much without that.
Yeah. They were just brute strength and just fighting and
So
kept
they
it grounded.
took the story of Daredevil and made it so good without like very minimal use of CGI, and they made it that good that we needed it back.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was like an interesting take because it's like a lot of people are like, why is he so much more acrobatic now?
Yeah.
But it's just because budget, and that's just what happens sometimes. But they delivered such a great story without that budget.
Right.
I don't know. It's just such like a random
That's a
fact
great
that I
fact.
really like.
Yeah, great fact. CinemaCon was yesterday, and obviously it's still going, but Sony announced the Beatles.
Ah, yeah.
The cast of the Beatles. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the guy's name, but I think its last name is Dickinson,
Okay.
who's playing John Lennon.
Oh, okay.
We have Joseph Quinn playing George Harrison. We have Barry Keoghan playing Ringo. We have
Yeah.
Paul Mescal playing Paul McCartney.
Yes.
And what's so unique about this movie is there's 4 movies that are going to be releasing, and they're calling it like the 4-movie cinematic event of the Beatles or something like that. And they're going to release on the same day, or at least the same year.
Yeah.
So you can go watch Paul McCartney's movie, and then you can go watch John Lennon's movie. You can go watch Ringo's and George's. Or if you want to go George and Ringo first, you're welcome to do that too. It's basically allowing the theater to go watch these movies. Each movie will have a different perspective. So
Yeah.
Paul McCartney's movie with Paul Mescal will be focused more on Paul's perspective. And I'm assuming that they're going to show different experiences throughout their lives. So
Right.
each movie's a little different. But it is really interesting. 4 movies filmed in a year.
Yeah. Coming out in the same year.
Same year. And I think it's a very ambitious project.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, the director is an Academy Award winning director. So there is a lot of hope and a lot of optimism towards this project.
Yeah. See, what I think is so cool about what they're doing here is they're giving fans an experience. Okay.
Yeah.
They're putting 4 movies out from 4 different perspectives, right? But they're all going technically through the same thing. If they're all coming out in the same year, same day, whatever, regardless, you could technically watch them in completely different orders.
Right.
And
Have
it
different
will
experience.
and it will change your view on the other movies.
Right.
So think about this. Depending on which movie you decide to watch first, second, third, fourth, it's going to alter your opinion on possibly who could be right and wrong in certain situations.
Right.
Because we know, like, obviously the Beatles had arguments with each other.
Yeah.
They had their issues. They obviously broke up, right? So we get to see, depending on which movie you want to watch in what order, you get to see, wow, some people might side with George Harrison. Some people might side with Paul McCartney. Some people might side with John Lennon. It creates this whole universe of experiences that could lead into different perspectives.
Yeah. I mean, they're advertising it as the first bingeable movies.
Yeah. See, that's insane.
Where, we go home, right? You're at home and you binge through a Netflix series. But this experience will be bingeable in the big screen. Right?
Yeah.
People are going to go to the movies, sit in the theater, and binge through 4 movies, which has never been done.
Right.
Maybe Godfather Part 2, because it was so long, there's like a 2-parter thing. But this is going to be unique.
I do want to say, like, a first of its kind, because 4 movies.
Oh, it's for sure. It's the
Yeah.
first of its kind. That's what they're saying.
Okay. Yeah, but moving on to Would You Rather's movie edition.
All right.
Okay, would you rather live in a universe where superheroes exist, but you have no powers, or live in a universe where everyone has powers except for you?
Say that first one again.
Okay, would you rather live in a universe where
Yeah.
superheroes exist, but you don't have powers,
Okay.
or live in a universe where everyone has powers except for you? It's kind of like a lose-lose, but which one's better of the two?
I wouldn't mind being the only one that doesn't have superpowers.
Oh, okay.
Because this is going to sound crazy, but
Okay.
I think this is how it would play out. Since I'm the only normal human
Yeah,
on Earth,
okay.
when they have to do studies or anything like that,
Uh-huh.
they're going to use me as their...
And you want to
The
be
reference.
that? You want to be the test subject?
No, but I think it's very profitable. I could monetize it. I think I could make a reality show about being normal. And
Interesting.
people that have heroes, people that have powers are going to be like, I want to see what a normal person lives like.
You also have to take into consideration that there's evil people with powers.
Yeah.
Right? And possibly could be after you, the only normal human on Earth, right? But if there's a bunch of people that could be evil with superpowers, that's an issue. As opposed to superheroes having the only powers, and there's being maybe
Okay.
a few evil people, and they just fight out each other.
Okay, the first option you gave me where I don't have powers, but there are superheroes that exist.
Yeah,
I assume that villains came with that.
right. But villains come with it either way.
Right. I guess for me, I thought like it was more of like a abundant mindset
No.
instead of being like, if I can't get it, then no one else should have it. I was like, you know
No.
what? I'm okay with not having it.
Yeah, but you're also giving powers to bad people.
You're right.
A lot of bad people. At least in the other one, there's superheroes and some villains.
You're right.
But now everybody has superpowers?
I think the responsible answer for society's safety would be the first one. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have the Force and always be hunted by the Empire, or have mutant powers and always be hunted by the government?
Oh man, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, but
I guess it depends.
Which one would you rather have?
Well, it depends on what my mutant power is. If I only have the Force, right?
Yeah.
Do I have a lightsaber too, or just the Force?
Just the Force.
And as a mutant, what's my power?
You have Iceman's power.
Oh, it's tough. I'm trying to think when I look at how successful you could be hiding your powers or hiding the Force. I'm trying to think.
No, but see, like, you're an X-Men, you're a mutant, right? The government knows you're a mutant.
Oh, okay. So now you're adding that in.
No, it says you're going to be hunted by the government. Always be hunted by the government.
And I'm going to always be hunted by the rebellion.
Yeah.
The Empire.
Right. So you can't just go around being like, I can hide my powers. Dude, the government knows you have powers.
So does
The Empire.
the Empire.
Just which one would you rather have? Would you rather have the superpowers but always risk the government? Or would you rather have the Force and always risk the Empire?
I mean, either way, I'm being hunted. I can either freeze them or I push them back with the Force or choke them. Guess I could Force jump. Probably the Force
Okay.
because I could be more discreet with it.
The reason why I would say the Force is because there's infinite places where you could hide in the galaxy of Star Wars,
That's true.
as opposed to Earth.
That's a good point.
Okay, would you rather have Doctor Strange's magic, but have the risk of being corrupted by your own magic, like with the Darkhold, or have Tony Stark's intelligence, but all your inventions put you in danger? As we see, Tony Stark's creates a lot of villains with his inventions and trying to help the world.
I mean, look I'm biased towards Tony Stark, so I would just pick Tony Stark.
Really?
Repeat the first one again.
Would you rather have Doctor Strange's magic with the risk of being corrupted by your own magic, or have Tony Stark's intelligence, but all your inventions put you in danger?
Which is just basically Tony Stark's life, right? All his inventions put him in danger.
Technically, yeah.
So yeah, I'll go Tony Stark.
I'm picking Doctor Strange. All you gotta do is stay away from Darkhold and not like let it corrupt you.
Yeah, I guess once I heard I could be Iron Man, I would want to be Iron Man.
I guess. Okay, would you rather be Spider-Man and never be able to take off your mask, or be Batman and never have access to your money?
So I'm Spider-Man, but I can't take off my mask.
Ever.
So I can't ever like relax and
Well-
like go and walk down the street where people don't think I'm Spider-Man.
Right. Or would you rather be Batman but never have access to your money? So you're just a broke Batman.
Batman without his money, is he really gonna be able to do much? Yeah,
Yeah.
I would go Batman.
What? For real?
Yeah,
I'm going Spider-Man.
you could never take off your mask
Yeah, but I get to be Spider-Man.
in LA.
Yeah.
I'm going Batman all day.
Let us know what you would pick. I think Spider-Man's the way to go.
I guarantee people will say Batman.
Okay, last one. Would you rather have Wolverine's healing factor and feel all the pain, or be Superman and everyone knows that your weakness is kryptonite?
Be Wolverine and feel all the pain, which he does, right?
Right.
But he regenerates.
He regenerates. Or be Superman, but everybody, every single person on Earth knows your weakness and
Now-
basically how to depower you.
But do people know that I feel pain and heal as Wolverine? Or is that a secret?
I guess that's a secret for people that don't know the X-Men.
Okay, I guess my whole reason of that question is to say that if people, it's like,
But you could also be
Advertise.
Clark Kent. People don't know Clark Kent is Superman.
if I get kryptonite, I could die. But if I do the Wolverine thing, I'll feel pain, but I will survive. I go Wolverine.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the smart way to go. But also you could assume, like, not everyone on Earth is going to be able to get kryptonite.
That is true.
But people that do get a hold of it is kind of dangerous.
And you should be able to blast them with your laser beams before they even get close to you with that kryptonite.
I guess.
But see, Superman doesn't kill. So if you're
Ah.
willing to kill.
Yeah, Wolverine
maybe-
kills.
No. But say if you're Superman, right?
Okay.
And you're willing to kill.
Yeah.
Maybe the kryptonite might not be as deadly as you think,
I guess so.
right? Because if you see someone that might have kryptonite, you just blast that sucker.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but see, Superman's so good, he tries to like get close and like arrest them or like take them out without killing them.
Right.
And that's when he gets hit with the kryptonite.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think I would still go Wolverine. Wolverine's the way to go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is like a question I just like, is like kind of random.
Okay.
But like, if movies had to be 100% realistic,
Yeah.
which movie would be the most boring? If all the movies in the world had to be 100% realistic, what movie's going to be the most boring?
Realistic. So you're saying like Star Wars isn't realistic.
Yeah.
So if it was realistic, it would be
Like no one would have the Force. No one would be flying around in spaceships. No one would have lightsabers.
well. Obviously, then documentaries and biopics become very like sought after because that's
Right.
like real.
Yeah.
And then I guess with that argument, then it would be the flip side. It would be like Marvel movies. It would be Star Wars movies. It would be the movies that require a lot of CGI and fiction.
Yeah. So, but which one would be like the most boring? When you look at the story and you look at how much unrealism there needs to be in certain movies,
Yeah.
which one would be the most boring if it had to be 100% realistic?
I will say this: Harry Potter would be really funny. A bunch of these kids
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they'd be like, oh look it, it doesn't work.
What about Jurassic Park?
But wouldn't realistic be like dinosaurs then?
But would dinosaurs be alive right now?
Give me an example of what you're trying to, so I could see it. So you're saying like, what would Jurassic Park look like now? If you're saying like if it had to be realistic.
People running away from nothing
Oh, okay.
and just being on an island.
Okay, so it's basically movies,
And you're removing the unrealism.
the CGI.
Yeah.
I guess horror movies are real. You would keep that real.
Like Scream, yeah.
Well, then with that, it's like what you said. It would be like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It would be any time that requires a lot of green screen or the volume. Like Thanos would be funky.
Yeah.
Because it's just like Josh Brolin with that stick above his head.
That's true.
Which will still be kind of cool to see Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. fight. Right?
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I think you got to go like either Harry Potter. Harry Potter's a good one.
I think Harry Potter would be funny.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
If you could make any movie character 100% real, but they had to be your boss, who would be the worst person to pick?
They had to be my boss.
Yeah. Who would be the worst option?
Probably Voldemort.
You think Voldemort over like the Joker? Joker's pretty bad.
Yeah. Joker is pretty bad.
You won't become the next Harley Quinn.
I'll be Joker. I'll say Joker is the worst.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who's a movie character that to be your boss.
Well, I think Voldemort's pretty bad.
Voldemort's bad.
Thanos is pretty bad, but not as bad as Voldemort.
Yeah, but see, Voldemort, he has people working for him still. Like people follow him. He has like a whole army.
Right. And we know how things work out for that army.
Yeah, but they're like willingly going with him. Joker, that dude's solo. So imagine him having a
There's got to be a better answer out there. Hang on. So, yeah, Joker's good, but who else?
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers is bad.
Michael Myers would probably just kill you. At least Joker would keep you around.
Alien.
Oh, yeah. Predator. But who would be the worst? There's a lot of bad ones. But who would be the worst? I think I'm sticking with Joker.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's so unknown, like what would happen,
Yeah.
but we know that Joker will kill his people, no problem.
Yeah.
Like what he did in the bank. He just like shot some
Right.
guys.
One more question. Who would win in a fight? Okay. John Wick
Okay.
with a lightsaber or Darth Vader with a pencil?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Can Darth Vader use the Force?
Yeah. It's Darth Vader.
Okay, I just want to make sure because you're giving him a pencil
Right.
and the pencil's sharp, right?
Yeah.
Darth Vader.
You're giving John Wick a lightsaber.
Darth Vader all day.
Really?
Yeah, he could just like stop the lightsaber from coming at him,
Uh-huh.
sling the Force right through his head,
Yeah. I guess that's a little bit easy.
right?
Yeah.
Darth Vader should
All right. Bad question. Bad question.
Darth Vader should wreck him. It's so interesting. I showed Leia for the first time Iron Man 1.
Yes.
She watched it for the first time. It's so weird watching somebody watch a movie that I love so much for the first time.
For the first time.
Because like I was so young when I watched Iron Man 1 as a kid that a lot of the stuff that happens in it didn't really affect me the way it would now probably.
Yeah.
Like in Iron Man 1 when Jensen dies,
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, that's pretty emotional. But Leia was like bawling.
Yeah. See, that's insane.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, as a kid, I was like watching that scene. I was like, probably 11 years old at the time. Like, oh, this is sad, but look how cool Iron Man is. You know, he's in his suit.
I mean, it's like really, yeah, like you said, it's really interesting to see someone experience those moments, right? Because we saw that in 2008.
Yes.
Now, we were obviously a lot younger. So those emotional parts may not hit us as hard when we were younger, right?
Yeah.
But now that Leia's watching it for the first time, right, and she's in her 20s, you could definitely see like the emotion will definitely hit you harder.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see, and then like to even see like the shock she had, like certain jump moments for like when Obadiah Stane towards the end of the movie when like Pepper's like
Oh yeah,
and then he comes out like of the whatever it was, you see his eyes.
yeah.
Like Leia was like freaking out. It is just so like weird to watch the Iron Man movie again with someone that's never watched it because like I know where this goes.
Right.
Like I'm just thinking like
Like
oh my
Leia has no idea.
Yeah, like when he goes, I am Iron Man, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Then he like says it again later.
Yeah.
That's just so wild.
Right. And Leia doesn't even know yet.
Yeah, and it's so weird to think back then how Iron Man 1 was like, this is the start of what we all experience today.
Yeah.
Like without this movie, we wouldn't be where we're at right now.
Right.
Like this guy wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah. It's so like crazy to think like how Leia experiencing these for the first time is so like insane.
It is very insane, but it is cool to see someone's excitement for something that, like, I always I've known that Iron Man 1 is a great movie, right?
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see someone like watch a movie from 17 years ago,
Right.
and be like, wow, this movie's really good. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's pretty cool that it's held up, you know?
Yeah.
Well, guys, if you're new to the channel, please smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and also comment what you guys want us to talk about next week, and let us know your thoughts on our opinions today.
Yeah.
If you agree or disagree or feel we shouldn't have said what we said, then let us know. Also, comment what movies you guys want Leia and I to watch next. Obviously, we are doing the MCU in chronological order of release. So we just did Incredible Hulk, but you guys haven't seen that yet because it hasn't released yet. But we've done Iron Man 1 and Incredible Hulk. Obviously, we're going to continue through the lineup of movies, but if there's movies that you want us to watch in between those, let us know. And make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and we'll see you guys next time on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube.
We'll see you on the TikTok.
God bless you guys.
See ya.
Love ya. Well, I got the right that
No,
time.
that was actually wrong. I reversed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to say see ya. I'm supposed to say love ya.
And when I say God bless you,
Before that,
oh, I have to say,
God bless you guys. See ya.
oh, God bless you guys. See ya.
Love ya.
That's the right way.